All right, cool, Jeff. Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is an entrepreneur podcast. We appreciate you coming on. This podcast is really geared toward new entrepreneurs, any kind of entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs. Tell them your struggles, tell them what you've succeeded in, your whole business, and let us know and let us our crowd know what we love to help our new guys that are coming on. So I'm gonna kind of leave the floor to you. What's your name? What's your business?
Yeah, well, you're welcome for coming on, for inviting me. I thank you for the opportunity to talk to everybody and share. I've listened to a few episodes of Burn the Ship, and I like what you guys are doing. I
Thank
think
you.
conversations with entrepreneurs is always a fun topic. I like to engage in that, just the same way I like to engage in conversations with other videographers about gear. It's just fun to talk shop, and hopefully, some lessons can be shared, things like that. So that's what I'm hoping for from today. So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm Jeff Achen. I'm a video producer, owner of Call Sign 51. It's a video production company here in Minnesota. I'm in Apple Valley, Minnesota today in my office, filming from our office and studio. And we just a small video production company, one of many in the Twin Cities area here. And yeah, I just love to know what you want to know about me or what you think your audience wants to know.
Sure. Like, number one, how did you get into it? And then like, who are your like targeted customers right now? Are they full on commercials? Are they movies? Like the production has such a weird name now. You could just do short commercials, social media type stuff. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I often get asked as soon as I mention that I'm doing this, oh, do you do weddings? Or
Yeah.
what do you do movies, that kind of thing. And yeah, I do commercial video production. Again, we're a smaller shop, so we're not doing Nike commercials or Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that. But we do a lot of work. We have worked with some of the bigger companies in the Twin Cities. We've also worked with Amazon and some other ones doing training videos and things like that. So I do everything from, I know I have connections here in town that, want me to do music videos for them or event videos. A lot of the time what I'm doing is working with nonprofits. I got really connected. If we get into my background a little bit, you'll learn why. But I'm very connected with nonprofits, so I'm helping them do fundraising videos. We're doing a lot of events. So when there's galas and conferences and things like that, we're doing conference highlights and customer testimonials and things like that. I also do photography and some web design or graphic design, and so we're doing animated explainer videos for clients, helping them move their business forward. And so, headshots, event photography, stock photography, so on their websites and their brochures. And then, of course, we're really getting into not getting into the age of social media, but really getting much more traction with how social media and video play together to move a customer forward. And so now we're getting into producing reels and ads for customers that help the customer along their client journey, right, to become clients. So I'll talk about this a little bit, but really in the last year, I've really been much more concerted than just being a business that makes beautiful videos or great training videos for a client, to actually talking to my clients about how those videos will make them money, land clients, and generate new leads. And so we're
Sure.
getting into this content marketing, lead marketing, and I think that's kind of exciting because it's going to serve my customers even better, right? Because a lot of times they come and they think they need a video for their gala, and that's all they're thinking about for fundraising. They're not thinking about the rest of the days of the year and how social media, customer testimonials, donor testimonials, client stories can be moving more donors in their direction. Or if it's a for-profit business, how social media, customer testimonials, explainer videos, animations can be moving customers more towards a buying decision in their business.
Well, that's awesome. So you really stick with B2B kind of production, not weddings, not consumer type stuff, right?
Yeah, and I did get my start doing some weddings. In terms of my business getting started there, I'm a former journalist, and maybe still a closeted journalist at heart. I really love journalism and the idea of conveying information that is of public good. And I see like there's some parallels in doing that commercially, right? I'm not just a sellout. I like to tell my former journalism friends, but that I'm actually helping, especially these nonprofits and some of these small businesses that genuinely have a good product to bring to market, tell their story, tell their customer story, tell how their product is impacting lives and helping their clients do what they want to do and live the kind of lives they want to live. So it can be really rewarding, but I got my start in having a passion for journalism. I served as a television news journalist for a while, print journalism, and I just got a chance to do kind of a lot of both And that really turned me into this multimedia journalist right at a time in early 2000s when online video was becoming a thing for newspapers and
Sure.
online digital media was emerging. And so now it was this idea that like I had experience in television and I was a print journalist, and I got hired by a newspaper down here in Minneapolis, South Minneapolis area, and they said, "Would you do some videos for our website?" And I started, and they kind of gave me a long runway to do some of that. And so then I started producing podcasts and Spanish language podcasts and sports ones and video. We did a video collaboration between our newspaper and um, a public television studio in one of the cities, and had a collaboration there. We did kind of a news public affairs show, but we did it in the new digital economy, podcasting kind of vein, right? So now it just wasn't a public affairs show that showed on cable access. It was on YouTube and it was promoted on our newspaper website. So really exciting times when that kind of stuff was going on in my career. And that did evolve into me freelancing some of my work, whether it was doing some weddings in the early days just to save up money for for the gear that I got to get started, then starting to make some inroads to commercial video production through a few companies that wanted to hire me to do some work for them.
Yeah, so you had said something too a little bit ago that really caught my ear. It was and I being in the payments business, we deal with nonprofits and we deal with multitude of businesses across the board. I mean, anybody that takes a credit card, we probably have signed them up at some point in my
Yeah.
career. I mean, I've been doing this for 22 years. So, but the thing about the nonprofits is they are hyper focused, like you said, the gala or they have this one event a year that brings them a lot of money, and it takes a lot to put those events together. But then they do forget about the other 364 days a year. So I, as a payments provider, go in and go, listen, let's do some recurring billing. You can use this at the gala, but let's get some money flowing in December as well as March or April when you do your gala, you do your ball, because it does bring in money. I can't say it doesn't, and it brings in a lot of money. And so a lot of them do a really nice job at that event. But I love giving those fresh ideas of here's how you can make money during those off times when you're not thinking about it or you're planning something else. So how do you approach that client and go, here, I'm going to do this video for you, and the engagement of what this video is going to bring you can add to your bottom line.
I'm not sure I understand the question. So,
Yeah, how do you, when you approach your client or the nonprofit and going, hey, we're doing these videos and they need to be videos not just for the gala, but to get business and get money coming in, flowing the other 11 months of the year.
yeah, well, let me go back and kind of your first comments were about that digital fundraising around the year and helping nonprofits think outside that. I got the fortune to be kind of hired out of journalism. This is a little segue between my careers, having Call Sign 51 and my journalism career. But I got hired out by a community foundation that was starting something here in Minnesota called GiveMN.org. And if you're in Minnesota, you probably know what that is. But it's a fundraising website that really brought a lot of Minnesota nonprofits into digital and online payments and online fundraising, and they hadn't before. And so it was a platform that covered some of those fees, which was a huge thing, a huge incentive for the nonprofits to go online. And then it was also, just new to nonprofits. They had used to been asking for checks at galas and taking payments that way. So online payment processing for nonprofits was a huge part of GiveMN's mission. And really to publicize that, they did a huge giving day that they do to this day in November called Give to the Max Day. And that is a huge fundraising day, but also a huge marketing and PR campaign day for nonprofits throughout the state. And I got the opportunity as a digital strategist there, which is the role they hired me from as a former editor and publisher and all that stuff, to help nonprofits think about how they went online, let people know that they could give online on this special day when there was grants and matching grants and things like that available, and actually learn how to market themselves virtually and digitally. So it was teaching them about Twitter, it was teaching them about YouTube, it was helping them make videos, and then connecting it to that online giving, making donors feel that their donation was secure and safe, and making sure that their donation was processed with minimal fees so that all their donation went to the nonprofit itself. And so those conversations about how to fundraise year-round also started to come up, because it would Give to the Max Day was great, and it is great, a great event, but it is that one day a year, and nonprofits do need to think about the rest of the year, and they are. But with online fundraising and social media now, they have this additional capacity to not just send out, your typical mailing you get from your favorite nonprofit, right? You actually have the ability to tell stories through video, to to actually announce updates if you're doing a capital campaign or building a building or that kind of thing, and show how dollars are at work. And social media is great for that. So I'm talking with my
Sure.
nonprofits about creating videos that share the work and the story and how the donor dollars are being stewarded, right? And so that translates in business to what value is this product giving you, right? And you see it being done really well with a lot of products online with video, and particularly with social media. I'm thinking of I'm a bourbon guy. I like drinking bourbon, and a product that caught my eye on social media. I'm going to give a little plug out. I have no affiliation with these guys other than I love their product. It's called Smoke Show, and it's this little smoker you put on top of your glass. You put in these wood chips, you smoke it, and you get yourself a little smoked cocktail.
Yeah, I've seen
And
them.
you've seen them, okay? So you know what I'm talking about. They do a
I
fantastic
don't know
job.
if I've seen that brand, but
Something
we
like
have
them.
a wine place up at a wine and bourbon place up by my house that they do the whole thing with the fire and the chips and everything. And
I'm getting
it
thirsty
definitely
right now here, but
see
I think
see
the Instagram stuff that they're doing is fantastic. They're showing the product, the different types of wood chips they use. I mean, they're constantly putting out content with video on social media, and all of it's got the shop now or buy now tag on the bottom. But they're going into recipes and different things you can do for your cocktails, and they just do such a good job of showing the value of their product through
hmm
video over and over again, and then having that payments link right underneath that, or that shop now button or learn more button underneath there.
sure
And you see brands doing that, but doing it well, not just having a slick or great marketing campaign or something catchy, which is helpful, but they're actually providing value through their posts. Like the recipe is something you can take right away and go that night and make yourself a cocktail at home. But they're also showing how their product is superior, how it's something you want, how it's great value, and
sure.
people are buying them. So I gotta believe, I don't know what their books look like, but I gotta believe they're making some pretty good money with the strategy that
Yeah,
they've taken.
and that's probably doable at home that night with the recipe because making a drink and doing the smoke and all that. But I love that. Like I am infatuated with the cooking videos that it's a 30-minute video cut down to 30 45 seconds, and I'm like I can do that, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's way harder than it looks on the thing. But that probably is pretty easy. I also like the easy 30 or 45-minute builds in your house where they span it over 45 seconds. Like, but I know that I can't do that like
Yeah,
that.
those videos where they're making something. I mean, I'm not even a carpenter or anything. I'm not planning to do any kind of home renovations, but they'll catch me, and before I know it, I'm watching 5 minutes of this video.
They're
So
cool.
I get
They're
you. They're
cool, man.
very,
They're
they
cool.
draw you in. Well, the other thing I want to say about that too, and for business owners to think about with that video marketing and content marketing and having all that content out there, is there's another concept that we just kind of touched on that's very important in content marketing and lead generation, which is that lead magnet, right? The value offer that you give out for free, that a customer, out of your goodwill, and your customer can take and use, right? It's that recipe. It's the recipe book. Download our free book, and that gets you into a little bit of relationship with the business, right? So in order to download that free guide or get that recipe, you're following us, or you're putting in name and email so you can get on our newsletter list, and then that becomes a lead magnet for your sales folks to reach out and say, hey, we saw you liked our product, we saw you were watching our videos, can we send you this, or are you interested in purchasing that? And opens up that conversation. Now it's not this cold lead that you're just calling up and trying to convince them they need your product or service.
For sure, and especially look, there's a percentage, and I'm one of those percentages. If I see something really cool, like they did a burn barrel, and they showed you how to do it at home, I still don't want to go try that. But if you put something at the bottom and I'm like, I just want to buy it. Can I just buy it?
Yeah.
So and that, like you just said, that's a lead magnet of me going, I'm not going to try that, but I'll just buy the one you just did. How about that? Like I'll take
Yeah.
the display home. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, like the lead magnet can look different for different businesses. It could be 2 free weeks, it could be free exam, free x-rays, could be a free guide, free recipe. There's so many really cool things that, if you're in business and you know your business well, you know your product niche, you have something to give away for free. And then you also mentioned something that I think is really key and worth pulling out too, which is that once you get that recipe or you download that guide, you dig in and you think, oh man, this is a little more than I can handle, right? I can't make
100%.
videos or I can't. And then what do? You reach out and you buy the product. You say, listen, I
That's
need
right.
you. I need you to hire me. I need to hire you, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
to build this for me or to do this for me. And that is the point of the lead magnet. And then I always think of my lead magnets too as like, hey, if you do want to build yourself or film your own videos with your smartphone, be my guest. How can I help you? I do hope that at some point in the future you'll say, I need a professional. I'd love to outsource that. Especially as you get up in your business and you're doing more and more business, all of a sudden now money isn't your incentive. It's getting your time back, right? And that's why I want you to hire me to do your videos. Yeah, you can have your 17-year-old intern do your videos for you. Yeah, you can do it internally or do them yourself, but maybe your time's real valuable or the quality matters to you, or the expertise that I can bring in. So that's usually what I'm working on when I talk about sales.
That's awesome, man. Well, tell us some things when you started the business that you wish you would have done, differently. That you're like, you called it a mini failure. Like, I wish I'd have done this different.
Yeah, that's a question I haven't thought a whole lot about. Not, I'm sure I've made my fair share of mistakes. I'm gonna do the little bit of a cheater answer, and then I'll maybe try to give you an answer that you're looking for. But the one is, I wouldn't change anything because everything I did, even the mistakes, made me who I am today, right? And I learned from all
Sure.
that stuff. So that's the simple answer that it's kind of fun to give because it is true. But I would say,
It's absolutely true for
it's
sure.
absolutely true. I think a good question maybe and more what your type of question is really asking is tell us the lessons you learned, what you did wrong and the lessons you learned, right?
Sure.
So thinking about that, I think um, I think I wish I would have started two things sooner. I wish I would have started to dig in and do a lot more education and even be willing to pay for some coaching or some online courses, whether it's in project management, which is a huge one that people don't think about, especially in a creatives and a creative entrepreneurial sense. You do have to get on teams of people, right? I typically work for some company's marketing manager, and then we're setting up interviews with their CEO and other people. And so all of a sudden, there's a team of people that we have to manage to get this video done. So project management skills would be a good example. I wish I would have just said, hey, I'm going to pay for a course that's going to teach me all this stuff instead of waiting, 5, 6 years to learn all the things through the school of hard knocks of doing project management poorly. And the second thing is, and I'm still not real great about this, but I'm trying. Get a mentor or a coach early. Ask somebody else in the business if they wouldn't mind meeting with you for coffee once a month and talking either about your business or your expertise, right? So another videographer that I admire that could teach me things, or another business person, even if he's not in video production, that I could work with and just get some tips and some guidance and learn from.
That's a great advice, and all my guys in my company know that I talk about. My mentor told me this. The guy that got and brought me in the business told me this, and I say that a lot, because it was important. And now it turns into we've talked for 15 years, so it turns like we're more colleagues than mentorships, and we're passing information back and forth to each other, which is a nice thing to see that over that period of time, get to that more of a level playing field. Tell me something that you guys do great in your business.
One thing I'm proud of, and I think a lot of video production companies would want to say we do really high quality videos, and I certainly say that. But the thing I'm most proud of, and I think we do really great, really well, is communication with our clients. I have an intern and I have a full-time employee editor working for me. It's a small team, but I emphasize to them so much that it's about following up. It's about reassuring the client you're working on it. I received your email. I will get back to you by. And that just goes so far, especially when we talk about the project management and having tons of people on a team, to effective communication as a small business and oftentimes as a contractor or a freelancer with other companies, that wins me more return business than anything. The quality has to be there.
It is the difference between a small business and a multi-million-dollar business is the touch. They don't have the touch anymore.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. Great advice. All right, well, cool. Well, tell us how to get a hold of you. Tell us websites, phone numbers, email addresses, things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm online at callsign51.com, so CALLSIGN. If you're not familiar with military terms or play with GI Joes or watch Top Gun, call sign is, it's that name or moniker, like Top Gun was Maverick, right? So call sign and 51. Now, 51 is from when I was in the military. I was in the Navy right out of high school. So this was before the journalism career. I joined the Navy, and I served on the USS Thomas S. Gates, and that was 51 was the ship number. So when I was
Cool.
creating my business, I wanted it to not be just, and for a while it was when I was doing weddings, it was Jeff Achen, videography and photography, and I was the guy that showed up every time. As I grew my team a little bit more, I wanted more of an agency type of name, I think, for the creative aspect of it, to create a little bit of brand, unique brand identity. And I came up with Call Sign. Call Sign, of course, is a pretty popular, fairly popular name for a business, and so there's some call sign businesses out there. So I added the 51 for my ship. And that's my website, callsign51.com. I created
Show us the pictures that you said that you had.
Yeah, I've got some pictures here. I'd be happy to show you. This is me in the military here.
Boom.
But there's me driving the ship.
Look at
Call
that
sign
stud.
51. Yeah. I mean, I look pretty young there. There's me in uniform. I came home one time for leave. There's me in Thuil-sur-Mer, France. I know I'm pronouncing that horribly for those French speakers that might be watching, but we were there for the 50th anniversary of D-Day, and if you recall, they just celebrated, I think, the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So 30 years ago.
I was in Athens when on that weekend that they were celebrating that.
Yeah, so we were in the parade of ships in the English Channel, and then we kind of went around into the Mediterranean, and in southern France, I got to go out on shore leave, and you can see the French sailors are wearing a couple different uniforms there in that picture, and then there's me right there on the right, and a couple of my buddies, and we just went out and had a great time. We didn't, surprisingly, we didn't get too drunk. We actually had a pretty good time and behaved ourselves, and had a great time meeting some of the French sailors. I also did a very brief stint in the Seabees, which is the construction corps of the Navy. Once I got out of the Navy and returned to North Dakota, where I'm from, and it was kind of like National Guard, right? On weekends, I would go out and do that, and I was in the Seabees as a heavy equipment operator. So that's a picture there.
They fired you when you flipped that car on accident, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think I had made a very good Seabee. I did it for a year, went through some training, but I never got to build anything. That's probably a good thing, but. Every man should learn how to drive a bulldozer, in my opinion. So,
Heck yeah.
a front end loader. So there's a picture of me in front of the Western Wall in Israel. I got to just travel so much. Here's my ship from the very tip of the ship. I took a picture of us in the Suez Canal. Got to do the Panama Canal as well, and just had a really rewarding. There's my ship right there. Just a brief clip of it's been scrapped and changed back into to metal pieces of metal by now. But it was a good experience. I remember in the Navy wanting to get out pretty much every day. If they would have said, sign here, you can go home and see your mom and dad and your friends, I would have done it. But in retrospect, I have so many memories. Got to travel the world so much and learned a lot. And mostly, and guys will tell you this. Everybody in the military, women and men in the military, if you went in at 17 or 18, it grew you up. It told you how to get your bed made and make sure your gig line, right, was straight, your shirt and your pants are lined up, and be responsible. And so I think that made me a better business person, which is what I ended up becoming, right?
Sure. Well, thank you for joining. We really appreciate it. I'm excited about having you on in another year, see where your business is. I love doing these annual ones because people's businesses change at the blink of an eye. People go, oh, I got this really good opportunity. Now I do a lot of this, and I love hearing those stories. But we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and everybody, have a blessed day and be kind to each other out there.
All right. Take care. Thank you.